There is no single retirement plan that works for every retiree. Your retirement plan should be designed around your financial and retirement objectives. And that's why in today's video, we're going to break down retirement strategies by savings brackets of half a million, 1 million, and $3 million and up. I am a certified financial planner, and during my many years in the financial industry, I have helped clients navigate the complexities of retirement planning to ensure that they achieve the retirement goals that work for them. And what's more, I have clients in every single one of these brackets, so I understand the complexities around each savings number. And look, it's not difficult to find information online about retirement planning, but a lot of what you do here is a one size fits all approach that in reality isn't applicable to most people. So today, we're going to try and solve this problem. In this video, we're going to walk through the primary objectives retirees should look to and base their retirement strategy around, and therefore how you can optimize your retirement as well. We're going to talk about some risks and some solutions in order to get past them. And if you stick with me all the way through the end, you'll see the subtle and not so subtle differences between all these different savings brackets. So let's talk about what to do with $500,000 in retirement savings first and the approach you should be taking. The main goal for someone entering retirement with $500,000 saved is financial sustainability. I'm going to actually say that one more time. Sustainability. The objective is to ensure your savings last through your retirement while covering your essential living expenses like housing, food, and healthcare. At this level, the focus is on carefully managing withdrawals, controlling expenses, and maintaining a comfortable lifestyle without unnecessary risk. $500,000 is a substantial amount of money, but it may not stretch indefinitely if not managed carefully. And let's be honest with ourselves, $500,000 just isn't what it used to be after all this inflation the past few years. The primary objective of sustainability in this bracket is important because you have less flexibility over unexpected expenses or downturns in the market. It's all about ensuring that your money lasts. Healthcare costs, inflation, and longer life expectancies can quickly deplete your savings. If you do have $500,000 saved, these objectives are important. You plan to live modestly in retirement, perhaps downsizing or living in a lower cost area. You expect Social Security or a small pension to be a major part of your income. You might also plan on making Social Security the largest part of your budgeting, with withdrawals from your portfolio only covering necessities. You're focused more on preserving what you have rather than growing it significantly. You still need a balanced portfolio to keep up with inflation, but this also means being more prudent about how you take bigger withdrawals in years in which the market's up and you take less withdrawals in years markets are down. You need to be okay with fewer discretionary expenses like frequent travel or expensive hobbies. This is one way to have $500,000 quickly depleted if you are not careful and the only thing you'll be left with is Social Security. We're going to cover four big risks in this category, and the first is longevity risk, which means outliving your savings due to a longer retirement. Adhere to that 4% rule, which means you withdraw 4% of your assets for $500,000. That means starting out at $20,000 annually or $1,600 a month and then raising it slightly each year with inflation. You also need to think a lot harder about your Social Security withdrawal strategy. Taking early Social Security might mean your assets are preserved a little bit longer, but if your assets don't last, then you'll be stuck with a smaller Social Security benefit for the rest of your life. So, this is not to be taken lightly. One of the other things that you might consider doing is part time work or something to help you pay for those small luxuries that you want, but may be on the cusp of being able to afford it. So, number two is healthcare costs. Because medical expenses can skyrocket in your later years, especially if long term care is needed. With only $500,000, many clients do not want to put big amounts of their cash flow into insurance company and policies. So, my advice to those clients is you better be doing everything else in your power to live a healthier lifestyle than making walks and exercise a daily routine. Studies have shown that doing these things is very simple and will greatly affect your health. Inflation and market risk are something we've seen firsthand the past few years, so I don't need to go into too many details, but one way to beat inflation is through investing. Buying stocks and companies will help with inflation over the long run as companies are able to pass on that inflation to the consumers. But having a portfolio with all equity means more risk, and you need to have a balanced portfolio. One that has stocks that will go up to fight inflation and bonds that will give you current income and will be a little bit more stable. So, compared to other savings brackets, the $500,000 range requires much more careful budgeting and spending discipline. In contrast to the 1 million or more, retirees in this bracket need to focus heavily on maintaining their savings for essential needs. They don't have the luxury of taking significant financial risks or indulging in large discretionary expenses. It's all about being realistic about what the savings can support over a longer retirement period. There's less room for error, and that means prioritizing essentials like housing, healthcare, and day to day expenses. In summary, entering into retirement with $500,000 means focusing on sustainability. So let's talk about what to do with $1 million in retirement savings. First, let's talk about the primary objective here, which for someone entering into retirement with $1 million saved is to balance comfort and longevity. The goal is to maintain a comfortable lifestyle that allows for discretionary spending, such as travel, hobbies, or dining out, while ensuring that the savings still last through retirement. With $1 million saved, there's more room for flexibility than in the $500,000 bracket. You're in a good position to not just cover basic living expenses, but enjoy some luxuries. However, the focus remains on managing your spending so that your savings can support over the long term, considering factors like inflation, market risks, and potential healthcare costs. Once you saved $1 million, you have additional sources of income like Social Security or rental income, and you aim to use your $1 million as a cushion rather than your sole financial source. You're okay with moderate investment risks to ensure some growth of your portfolio, but you're not looking to take excessive risks. The biggest risks that you could see in this bracket are lifestyle inflation. It's easy to get comfortable spending more than you should, especially with $1 million, but overspending early can quickly deplete your savings. So you just want to be prudent about those thoughts and expenses. Number two is healthcare costs. As you age, medical expenses can increase dramatically, potentially eating into your savings. Number three is market volatility. A downturn in the market can reduce the value of your portfolio, especially if you're withdrawing from your investments during a down period. A downturn might mean taking a pause on a trip or some discretionary spending. Number four is longevity risk. You are living a longer than expected life, meaning your $1 million that you need could end up being stretched farther than you originally planned. But there's also some ways to help combat some of those risks. And number one here is just set a sustainable withdrawal rate. We've used the 4% concept before. We're going to stick with it. At $1 million, that is $40,000 a year just from your saving and investments. You add on Social Security and you have a pretty nice lifestyle there. Number two is diversify your investments. With $1 million, you can afford to take moderate risks for growth, but it's important to balance this with low risk investments to preserve some of your capital. A 60/40 stock to bond allocation could be a good starting point. Depending on your risk tolerance, building a 60/40 portfolio will help you combat inflation as the growth of your assets will hopefully be able to keep up. It's also nice now that interest rates are still relatively high, so you can lock in some pretty good interest over a longer period of time right now as well. Number three here is plan for long term health costs. Look into long term care insurance and make sure you're adequately covered with Medicare and supplemental insurance plans to manage unexpected health related expenses. Still maintain a healthy lifestyle. This should probably be emphasized in every single one of the categories here. Number four is if you like traveling, maybe prioritize that and some of the hobbies earlier in your retirement. If you plan to travel or pursue expensive hobbies, consider doing it earlier in your retirement when you're most likely to enjoy it. You just need to be mindful of how much you're spending so you don't overextend yourself. One thing to do is save a little extra before you retire for those first few years in retirement, specifically for traveling. So create a separate bucket for that category. But you still need to be a values-based traveler, thinking about nice places to stay that won't break the bank while you are traveling. Number five here is you need to create a legacy plan. With $1 million, it's possible to think about leaving something behind for your heirs or making charitable contributions. Consider working with a financial planner to explore estate planning options. Having a will or trust starts to become more important as you might have assets at the end of your life. So, compared to the $500,000 savings bracket, having $1 million in retirement does provide you with more flexibility and security. You have the ability to spend on discretionary activities such as travel, hobbies, and entertainment while still maintaining a safety net for your future costs. And this is a big difference between that $1 million and $500,000 bracket that we talked about earlier. So here's what to do with the $3 million and above retirement strategy. With $3 million saved for retirement, the primary objective is to fully embrace financial freedom while focusing on optimizing your wealth management. This allows you to enjoy a fruitful retirement without fear of outliving your savings. You'll be able to focus on maintaining your lifestyle, pursuing your passions, and potentially leaving behind a significant legacy. At $3 million, your retirement just isn't about covering essential expenses or budgeting cautiously. It's about maximizing enjoyment. You can comfortably afford to travel extensively, indulge in luxury hobbies, and contribute to causes or people that matter the most to you. The challenge shifts to ensuring your wealth is protected, efficiently managed, and sustained over your retirement, especially in terms of taxes, estate planning, and longevity. So, we still need to talk a little bit about some of the risks and solutions in this $3 million and up bracket. While $3 million offers significant flexibility, there are still some risks to consider, and we're going to cover four of them. The first is mismanagement of your wealth. Mismanaging wealth by making poor investment choices or overspending can diminish your $3 million more quickly than anticipated and can lead to bad outcomes. One way to solve this is still maintain that 4% rule. But with $3 million, you now have $120,000 per year, leaving plenty of room for discretionary spending. However, remaining flexible and adjusting based on market conditions and lifestyle needs is still important. This also doesn't include your Social Security or pensions, so there may be some room for a little bit more spending as well. The next is tax efficiency. At this wealth level, taxes can take significant reduction in your portfolio if not handled properly, especially estate taxes and taxes on withdrawals from retirement accounts. It might be wise to consider Roth conversions from your IRA to think about tax planning throughout your entire life, not just on a 1 year basis. I would think about yearly tax loss harvesting with multiple decade retirement conversion opportunities around tax planning. Number three is market volatility. While you can afford to take a portion of your wealth and put it into growth investments, significant downturns in the market can still affect your overall net worth. Having a balanced portfolio still makes a lot of sense here. At $3 million, though, you can afford to have some money in private equity that has the potential for outsized returns. But remember, that affects your liquidity and access to the money if you do need it. This leads to number four, estate planning and legacy. Without proper estate planning, a large portion of your wealth can be lost to taxes instead of being passed down to your heirs or charitable causes. At $3 million, you would fall under the current gift and inheritance tax exclusions, but who knows what those numbers look like in the future, especially if your wealth continues to grow. Possible solutions include gifting small amounts of money underneath the yearly threshold, which is currently at $18,000. This allows you to give during your lifetime. One other aspect to think about is how you want to distribute the remaining wealth you have created. Are you being thoughtful in your giving strategy and the perceived fairness amongst your children? Will this cause resentment among your children's relationships after you're gone. I have heard many people say, Nathan, I'm dead. It doesn't bother me anymore, which I actually think is an unfair thing to say to your children who are now figuring out how to navigate the relationships that they have with one another if one is given more for any particular reason. Creating a trust that discreetly passes on your wealth and protects your family and children from future creditors is also important. So, one more here is overlooking healthcare events. With $3 million, you have the luxury of accessing high quality healthcare and the potential for more creative solutions like hybrid long term care insurance, which gives you a long term care benefit and a death benefit should you never need to use it. A flexible general rule of thumb is that you can be more confident in self insuring around the $5 million mark if you are worried about a healthcare event draining your assets. One more thing to consider, if you save $3 million, it's likely because you're a saver. You didn't save all this money because you go on these lavish vacations. And in fact, vacations can often mean camping and exploring the national parks or spending more time at your summer house, which is already paid for. Having an enjoyable retirement does not mean spending more money, but it does mean you can buy the nicer camper, buy the small luxuries that you might not have bought when you were earlier in your career. And yes, you can afford to upgrade your computer that you've been using for the past 10 years. You can afford to buy the nicer couch or update your home you've been living in for the last 30 years. I have seen some clients not enjoy the fruits of their labor because they feel like they are going to run out of money, even with more than $5 million. This is where working with someone can help you put up guardrails to help you live an enjoyable life while still protecting your money. So, what makes this bracket different from the rest? At $3 million, you're in the financially elite class of retirement savers. This allows you for a much more flexible and luxurious retirement than the $1 million or $500,000 brackets. You can not only afford to live comfortably, but to pursue your dreams and passions that may have been feeling like they were out of reach before. You're no longer just thinking about survival or sustaining your lifestyle, you're considering how to maximize your enjoyment, build a legacy, and give back. So let's wrap this up. Now you've learned how to optimize your retirement by savings brackets. You can plan out your retirement without the stress of wondering if it will last. However, there is much more than meets the eye when it comes to retirement planning. If you want a team of professionals to analyze your situation and create an optimal plan completely tailored to you, click on that first link in the description. It will take you to a page where you can book a completely free consultation with me where we can begin to design and build the retirement of your dreams.